Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Another video with Mr. Wael Abdurrahman. Kindly, before we start, like, subscribe, share, comment, and turn on notifications. Let's start. Okay, so today we will resume the revision test for June the 17th exam, part 2. للي ما تفرجش على part 1 إن شاء الله I'm gonna include it في ال descriptions below. Okay, so let's start. طبعا this test I prepared it. ملوش أي علاقة. I just prepared it من ال resources بتاعتهم according to the SAT standard. Okay, so this is not a real test. I prepared this test. Okay. طيب للناس اللي بتسأل I prepared this test. طيب للمرة الثانية. Okay, let's start. Okay, so the English travelers of the Renaissance. Okay, the traveler newly returned from foreign lands was a great attraction for the satirists. In Elizabethan times, his bows and tremendous politeness, his close-fitting black clothes from Venice, his French accent, his finky refinement such as perfumes and pig tooth were highly offensive to the plain Englishman. زي ما تعودنا we look vertically يا ولاد عشان أعرف هو عايز إيه كلام كتير ده. طب vertically كده إيه الفرق يعني what's the difference between all these sentences? Okay, notice C مثلا we have a comma at the end. In A we have a semicolon. Okay, in C we have this comma and. So definitely this is punctuation. طيب هو عايز ايه بقى في punctuation؟ مش واضحة كده ان ده listing؟ مش باين الليست؟ اوكي نشوفها تاني. Okay, the traveler newly returned from foreign lands was. So the traveler was subject verb. A great attraction for satirists. مش مشكلتنا دي. In Elizabethan time, his ايه بقى؟ bows and tremendous politeness, comma, his close-fitting black clothes from Venice, comma, his French accent بعدين حط هنا semicolon. This is not a complete idea. That's هو B list لسه. So it is not A. طيب نشوف B. His bows and tremendous politeness, comma, his fitting black clothes from Venice, comma, برضو هنا مفيش comma and. We need a comma and at the end of the list. طب C و D. ايه الفرق؟ في عندي هنا comma and وهنا عندي comma and. اوكي طيب هنا قايل his هنا مش قايل his. اوكي هنا في comma هنا مش حاطط comma. طب what do you think؟ ايه رأيكم؟ هو بيقول هنا ايه؟ his bows, his close fitting, his French. يبقى we need the his. احنا محتاجين ال his. اوكي؟ طيب عشان تبقى parallel. طب الكاما ايه الكاما اللي at the end ده؟ ده non essential. كل اللي انت حضرتك قريته ده subject. اوكي؟ طيب من اول such بقى كل ده كده non essential عشان تبقى الوير هي الفيرب بتاع كل ده. اوكي so the answer is C. فكر كده بالطريقه دي شوف non essential فكر في listing think like that systematically زي ما اتعلمنا. Question number 2. Which of the following choices emphasizes animosity? Target question. ده الجول question. يعني animosity hatred. يبقى الفوكابلري هنا نفهم هو بيقول ايه. Okay, let's read. Okay, so how his attire spoke French or Italian and his gait cried behold me. attire لبسه يعني بيسافر وبيرجع وتغير. his attire, his clothes, he looks like French and Italian. Or his gait cried behold me, the way he walks. How he spoke his own language with shame and ايه بقى أنا عايزها أقول shame and which of these words means like animosity? Is it consent? When you consent means you agree, you accept. I consent means I agree. Hostility? Yes, that's hatred. It's partly animosity. Okay, wonder, we admire, admiration. So wonder and admire, I think they are mostly the same. So which word means animosity? It's hostility. So the target question بالذات, okay, روح على اللي هو بيقول لك عليه واعمل بالظبط الجول بتاعه. Animosity, look for the word اللي معناها animosity. Eliminate. شوفها positive, negative, animosity. This is negative. Eliminate the positive words if you don't know the meaning of some words. Okay. Next, number 3. Okay. So, Nash was one of the best at describing some who had lived in France for half a dozen years ولا lives ولا is living ولا living. So this is tense. احنا tense هنا. Okay, number one, where is the subject? So Nash was one of the best at describing some who. Describing some who. يبقى some دول هم ال who. تمام، مفيش مشاكل في دي. طيب had lived is past or lives present or is living present. Continuous ولا living. This is a modifier. قلنا بنعمل ايه عشان نعرف التنس؟ جو بص قبل بص بعد. يعني احنا بنتكلم على ايه؟ بنتكلم على الانجلش traveler. Okay, this is definitely ايه؟ in the past. وبعدين قال لك هنا was. Nash was. So this is past. دي الطريقة اللي بنعمل بيها الايه؟ التنسز. طبعا لو في clue words, okay, go for the clue word. Okay, so it's for 3 it will be A. Okay, number 4. The author is considering removing, okay, the underlined sentence. بنعمل ايه في removing? Read before, read after, plug it in. Plug the underlined in. شوفها. Look for a clue word. Read your answers. ساعات ال choices بت يعني it answers itself. ساعات بتبقى illogical. طيب نقرا كده من البداية. What is he saying? So the French-fied traveler came in for a good share of French-fied يعني واحد French-fied راح يسافر France and he looks like French. Actually he's not French but he looks like French. Okay, so the French-fied traveler came in for a good share of satire, but darker things were said of the Italian Englishman. Okay, بعدين قال ايه؟ Okay, darker things were said about him. طب البارت اللي عايز يعمله ايه بقى؟ He was. حلوة هي دي. هي ده اللي هو الانجلشمان ممكن. He was an atheist. بعدين عمل non-essential. A creature hitherto unknown in England. يعني until now. Hitherto like until now. Atheist ده لغاية دلوقتي ما يعرفوهوش في England. ده non-essential. So he was an atheist who boldly laughed to scorn both the Protestant and the Papists. The groups of people. كان بيضحك عليهم بيتريق عليهم. طب كمل كده. Okay. شوف. Related ولا مش related. He mocked the Pope. Railed on Luther and liked none but only himself. انت مش حاسس ان هو elaborate؟ يعني هو بيقول ان هي the sentence he laughed boldly على ال Protestant وال Papists. So how did he laugh? He mocked the Pope. So I think it should be kept. Okay. طيب keep it. شوف بقى keep it. It serves as an introduction to the next sentence. Yes, it introduces when he said he mocked the Pope. طيب قبلها قال ايه؟ ان هو he was an atheist so he laughed and scorned both the Protestant and the Papist. Okay. So keep it. It provides contradiction to the previous sentence. يعني again قلنا ان الانسر ده illogical. انا هخليها علشان هي بتديني عكس اللي بتقوله السنتنس. طب ازاي هخليها وهي بتديني عكس؟ احنا دايما we just keep the evidence. We support our evidence. يعني you said انت قلت claim you have to support it. Okay. طيب يبقى 4A. Okay, the next one. Okay, so, but I'm afraid, says Ascham, that many of our travelers unto Italy do not eschew like avoid, the way of Circe's court. Circe, this is like an Italian or god, Greek god from the mythology. They go and ride and run and fly thither. طيب يعني over there. Thither, this is over there. طيب نشوف كده برضو vertically هو عايز ايه؟ كلام كتير. طيب في هنا colon. Okay, we have here comma. We have 2 commas. Here we have only 1 comma. Here we have 2 commas. So it's again هنا في comma punctuation. هو بيقول نفس الكلام. Punctuation. This is punctuation. يبقى نركز بقى قوي في punctuation. بيقول ايه؟ Okay. طيب. Okay, so let's read A again. شوف بيقول ايه. So I am afraid. بعدين ايه؟ says Ascham, comma. طيب. That says Ascham, comma that. يعني don't you think in a comma that غريبة شوية؟ طب أمال ايه؟ ممكن تكون says Ascham. بص كده في B. But I'm afraid. طب says Ascham. This is an unessential. So we can just delete it كده. يبقى I'm afraid that. Okay. Many of our travelers unto Italy do not eschew, do not avoid, the way Cicero's court. بعدين حط comma. طب تعالى نشوف كده. قلنا بنشوف comma. نشوف الرانون sentence. اقرا السنتنس اللي وراها. They make great haste to come to her own. So this is a complete sentence. يبقى كده okay A تنفعش عشان we need another comma before says عشان تبقى non-essential. Okay لأن اتفقنا non-essential to similar punctuation marks. طب هنا this is a run-on sentence to complete ideas with a comma. ينفعش. طيب okay C but I'm afraid وبعدين non-essential. So I'm afraid that many of our travelers unto Italy do not eschew the way to Circe's court. وبعدين colon بيelaborate بيشرح. It could be. طب بيقول ايه بقى؟ They make great haste to come to her. Semicolon. Yes, it could be. طيب في B D but I'm afraid okay only one comma في missing comma هنا عشان يبقى non-essential. So it's not D. So definitely إن شاء الله it's C. Okay, number 6. Okay, which of the following words best fits the author's preference of sensitive language? قلنا تاني sensitive language go to the accurate read and شوف which word here fits. Okay, that's right. Okay, so they make great effort to serve her. مين دي اللي هي Circe. Okay, and then yeah, I could point out some with my finger that never had gone out of England. Okay, but only 2 Circes in England, in Italy. To handle Circes, deliver Circe, arrange Circe, or serve Circe. دايما اقرأ قبلها. هو قال قبل كده على فكرة serve. He repeats his ideas. So plug it in. هو يعمل ايه؟ هو هيserve Circe. So it's D. Okay, number 7. Okay, it is likely that some of these accusations were true, was true, is true, are true. طب subject verb agreement with tense. Number 1, where is the subject? اوعى تقول لي accusations. This is the prepositional phrase before the prepositional phrase. يعني some. Okay, some ايه بقى؟ Some could be singular or plural. Some ايه؟ Some water. Some of the water singular. طب some of the accusations that's plural. طيب يبقى some of the accusations plural. So eliminate B because was is singular, is singular. يبقى where? Okay, this is past and or this is present. طيب احنا past ولا present يا ولاد؟ Okay, لما قال لك England was counted كله في past. The whole passage is in the past. Okay, so definitely it's A. Okay, for number 8. Okay, students from all nations crowded to him, comma. طب vertically قال هنا him, them, full stop, it, full stop, it. قال هنا for, قال هنا from. يعني عندي ايه؟ This is pronoun, noun, agreement. Okay, في idiom في الموضوع. طيب يبقى we have to read before. هو بيتكلم على مين؟ him ولا it ولا them. So read before. شوف هو بيتكلم على ايه. Okay, the technique is very important. طريقة حلك. So, however, the University of Padua was still one of the greatest universities in Europe. يبقى الكلام على Padua University. طب Padua University تنفع him? No. Padua University تنفع them? No. So Padua University تنفع ايه؟ It and it. تنفع it. So it is not A. يبقى يا C يا D. طيب ايه الفرق؟ هنا حاطط full stop، هنا حاطط comma. جميل جدا. وهنا حاطط come before nations. طب نقرا بعدها. We have to read after. اقرا بعد. قال ايه؟ William Thomas describes the infinite resort of all nations that continually is seen there. Complete idea. William describes complete idea. نرجع تاني للrun-on sentence. Don't put two complete ideas with a comma or without the correct punctuation. Full stop, semicolon, comma, فانبوز. دايما افتكر الموضوع. يبقى هيعمل ايه؟ Just put a full stop. So it's C. طب ايه مشكلة دي تاني؟ هو حاطط هنا from all nations crowded to it. comma هنا. We don't need that comma. Okay, next number 9. Okay, so continually. طيب. So William Thomas described the infinite resort of all nations that continually is seen there. طب continually يا ولاد ده اسمه ايه؟ adverb. الادجective plus ly. طب بيعمل ايه الادفيرب؟ بيموديفاي مين؟ الفيرب الادجكتيف another adverb. Sometimes it modifies a whole phrase. طب هنا بيموديفاي مين؟ ايه اللي يعني continue بتموديفاي توصف مين؟ continually ايه؟ seen. So we need the adverb ولا we need the verb continue ولا continual we need the adjective ولا we need continuous. So we have verbs, we have adjectives and we have adverbs. شوف انت بتوصف مين؟ انت بتموديفاي مين؟ You modify the verb. So you need an adverb. Continually seen. Okay, number 9. Next one, number 10. Okay, I think verily, وبعدين الكوما that in one region of all the world. Okay, I think ان ده كده يبقى non-essential. Okay, طبعا ما تنساش ان انت to pause the video, try to answer the question. Okay, عشان تستفيد بالامتحان. Pause the question, answer it, وايه within resume. طب بيقول هنا I think verily كل ده كده non-essential. يبقى I think verily has على طول verily. Okay, has subject to verb. بالها verily مكان ده has not have so many strangers as in Italy. حلو جدا full stop. Especially of gentlemen whose resort thither is principally under pressure of study. دي كده complete idea عشان أنا كده أحط full stop. Full stop. Especially of gentlemen. فين السبجكت وفين الverb? Never. So it's not A. Okay. طيب B semicolon? No. D full stop? No. So we need a comma. It is not a full idea. Okay, it's a fragment. So we need a comma. C. Okay. Okay. The last one, 11. The writer would like to insert this sentence. Whereof I dare say 1,000 at least were gentlemen. قلنا بنعمل ايه واحنا بنعمل inserting sentence placement. Look for a clue. Look for a word. Look for a clue. Idea. Word. Okay. Look for the tense. Look, is it broad idea? Is it specific idea? Okay. دور. طب whereof I dare say. Whereof. ايه whereof؟ كلمة قديمة قوي. Whereof. انا يعني هي يعني زي ما قلت لك انا باي تراي ان انا اجيب دايما الستاندرد بتاع الاي اس تي، فهتلاقي في كلام قديم قوي you don't use it right now يعني whereof يعني by which of which I say 1,000 at least were gentlemen. So okay نشوف بقى هو عايز يحطها فين. Before one after one let's try كده نشوف. بيقول ايه this last winter living in Padua okay with diligent research I learned that the number of scholars there was little less than 1,500. أنا عرفت إن هم أقل من 1,500. Whereof I dare say يعني by which 1,000 أو من مين بقى من الجنتلمان من الناس من 100 من 1,500 at least were gentlemen. يبقى أنا تفكيري صح. Okay يبقى it's after sentence 1. Okay, the next passage. Okay, so passage 4. So the video before we answered passage الثانية and الثالثة. فالنهاردة إن شاء الله passage number 4. Who was Charles Curtis, the first vice president of color? أول vice president يكون ملون. Okay, as Curtis approached his late 60s. Okay, but in non-essential. Okay, he had one more rung to climb on the political ladder. Okay. In 1927, when Republican President Calvin Coolidge, طب انت عايز ايه هنا؟ نشوف. The author considering removing the underlined portion. شوف كده البارت اللي هو هيحطه ده. هو بيتكلم هنا على Curtis. بيقول Curtis was around 60 years old. Okay, وكان he had one more rung. فاضل له سلمة واحدة عشان يوصل يحقق البوليتيكال الاتشيفمنت بتاعه. طيب ايه اللي حصل؟ When Republican President Calvin Coolidge بعدين عمل non-essential. مين Calvin Coolidge ده؟ The 30th President of the United States from 1923 to 1929, a Republican lawyer from New England, born in Vermont, eventually becoming governor of Massachusetts. Okay, and خلص هنا كده. أنا محتاج كل الكلام ده announced إيه بقى؟ That he would not run for another term. قرر إنه مش هيعمل term تاني، مش هيترشح تاني. He saw his chance to run for president the following year. قرر الراجل كيرتس انه يترشح. طب الموضوع عن كالفين كوليدج ولا عن كيرتس؟ اوكي خليك ذكي يعني التوبيك تشارلز كيرتس، دي طريقه تفكيرك. البدايه كيرتس، اتس اول اباوت كيرتس. سو ليه انا اكتب كل ده على البريزيدنت على كالفين كوليدج؟ اوكي سو it's not kept. So it's C or D. So kept it disrupts the progression of ideas ولا beside the topic؟ لا مش beside the topic. انت بتكلمني على كالفين كوليدج بس انت عملت ايه؟ disrupts the ideas. انت شوشرت على الافكار ب unrelated او مش هقول unrelated يعني disrupts the ideas. اوكي ده كانش ليها لازمه ان احنا نكتب، خليك في البوينت بتاعتك. اوكي next one. اوكي 35. اوكي زي ما اتعلمنا برضو نبص شوف كده ايه الفرق ما بين التشويسز. اوكي A هنا في سيمي كولن، comma, we have run 4 C run 2 comma run 4 comma. يبقى ده ايه؟ punctuation و idiom. ركز. اوكي طيب بيقول ايه من البداية؟ when okay 1927 when Republican President Calvin Coolidge شيل كل الكلام ده okay just delete it announced that he would not run for another term semicolon. دي كده complete idea. The sentence started with when subordinating conjunction. أفكرك تاني when while although if unless all these subordinating conjunctions should الكلوز بتاعهم should end with a comma لأن أنت لسه فكرتك ما خلصتش عشان تحط full stop. دي incomplete idea فحط comma. So it is not a. طيب في هنا comma comma comma. حلو الكلام. طب ايه الفرق بقى؟ هنا ايه اللي sees so يبقى ايه؟ يبقى انا عندي comma punctuation، عندي run fall ورا run to idiom، عندي sees و so tense. 3 ideas for one question. يعني انا حاولت ان انا يعني اعملها يعني اصعد او اعلي درجه الديفيكولتي لان ان شاء الله مش هيجي بالشكل ده. 3 افكار في الكويستشن مش هتوصل كده ان شاء الله، بس تبقى ايه براكتس حلو ليك يعني. طيب يبقى we need the comma. طب هي بنقول ايه؟ run for another term ولا run to another term؟ هو run for يعني هيترشح لترم جديد، ما اسمهاش run to I think، هي run for صح؟ يبقى it is not C. طيب run for يبقى كده B or D. هنا sees و so أنا present ولا past؟ okay approached من البداية. look for a verb had in 1927 that's a clue you have يعني 1927 that's a date. يبقى على طول ايه؟ so it's D. okay 36. Okay, which of the following terms best suggest the main idea of the passage? Settlement, compromise, accord, and deal. طب نعمل ايه؟ نقرا. His plan, okay, his plan was to run behind the scenes campaign, seeking support from the delegates whom he hoped would see him as a deal candidate, ولا settlement candidate, ولا compromise, ولا accord candidate if they couldn't come together behind one of the front runners. يعني في كتير مترشحين وهو عايز يبقى اللي في النص. if they wouldn't come together، انتوا مش قادرين تجتمعوا على حد فانا بقى هاجي في النص، انا بقى الحل اللي ايه هيرضي جميع الاطراف. ده اسمه ايه؟ اسمه ايه الحل اللي انا حل وسط؟ اوكي I'm gonna اسمها ايه؟ اسمها compromise. he is a compromise candidate. okay لمين؟ if they couldn't come together okay on one of the front runners. okay number 37. okay so unfortunately for them okay that scenario didn't plan out. يبقى I think هنا them that's plural it us him. هو بيتكلم على مين؟ okay هو بيتكلم على Curtis. Curtis ما ينفعش مع them طبعا. this is pronoun noun agreement so this is a D. طيب him. okay 38 where should the author place the underlined sentence. okay تعال نشوف ال underlined sentence بتقول فيها ايه. okay read on. by this time there was already bad blood between Curtis and Hoover. طب انا عايز clue word. by this time يبقى انت اكيد قلت لي حاجه by this time. number 2 كيرتس وهوفر. انت اوريدي ذكرت لي يعني you mentioned كيرتس وهوفر. طب تعال نجرب نحطها فين. before sentence 1 يبقى محتاجين نقرا من الترانزيشن من الباراجراف the previous paragraph. اوكي بيقول ايه في previous paragraph؟ unfortunately for him that scenario didn't plan out. Secretary of Commerce Herbert Hoover won on the first ballot. اوكي طيب plug it in بقى by this time اللي هو any time في الوقت ده اللي فاز فيه بالبالت. there was already bad blood between Curtis and Hoover. كان في مشاكل بينهم. طيب جرب بقى تحط بعدها one. the senator had bristled at Hoover's choice in 1918 to campaign for Democratic candidates and tried to stop then President Warren G. Harding from appointing him to the cabinet. ما هو بيشرح لك بقى هنا ايه الباد بلاد اللي بينهم. okay and he was angry لان السيناتور كان غاضب جدا من هوفر يعني he's explaining الايه البلاد او الباد blood. this is how you're gonna plug it in. اقرا قبل اقرا بعد. so it's before sentence 1. okay 39 اوكي برضو هنا فول ستوب سيمي كولن ها punctuation خلاص. يبقى ناخد بالنا كده نقرا two sentences قبل وبعد. بيقول هنا ايه 7 years later the Republican Party saw putting the two together on their ticket as the solution to a serious problem. Complete ID. طيب next after the comma. Okay, Hoover was tremendously unpopular with farmers. Complete idea. يبقى A run on sentence, B run on sentence. يبقى C or D. ايه الفرق؟ colon وفول ستوب. الكولن بتelaborate بتشرح بتexplain بتلست. الفول ستوب خلاص end of ID. طب هو بيقول ايه؟ بيقول ان 7 years later الريبابليكان بارتي الحزب الريبابليكان قرر يحطوا الاثنين مع بعض يرشحوهم على نفس التيكت. ليه؟ as a solution عشان عندي problem عندي مشكله فانا هاخدكم انتوا الاثنين مع بعض. طب ايه هي البروبلم بقى يا فندم؟ هوفر was tremendously unpopular with farmers. هوفر ما كانش popular فحطوا معاه واحد popular ده يشيل ده. So we need what? So they are related so we need the colon. So it's C. Okay? 40. Okay, number 40, again we have S apostrophe, comma, nothing. So this is possession. فاكرين possession حاجة بتاعت حد. طيب Curtis, then L.E. Curtis, Kansas beloved veteran, offered the perfect choice to balance out the commerce secretary. طب اما انت بنحط قبل الفيرب كوما لازم يبقى في كوما تانية صح كده عشان يبقى Curtis السبجكت. طب الفيرب offered. So we need another comma here عشان يبقى كل ده كده non-essential. So there is a missing comma in A. Okay طيب في B okay حاطط comma وحاطط possession. سؤال بقى احنا محتاجين possession ولا لا؟ يبقى Curtis. مين Curtis ده؟ Kansas beloved veteran senator. السيناتور بتاع كانساس ده الفيترن المحارب القديم السيناتور بتاع كانساس. So we need the possession. Okay هي كانساس اصلا اخرها S so we just put the apostrophe. Okay so it's not C, it's not D because we need the possession. So 40B. Okay? Okay. 41. Okay, so in number 41 برضو vertically كده بسرعة هو هنا ايه؟ يعني هنا we have a comma here. We have a comma here, so we have a comma here. We don't have a comma here. طيب ايه تاني؟ هنا comma. هنا مفيش comma. Okay, in C, in D we have us, here we have them. يبقى ايه برضو this is pronoun only them و us, so this is pronoun قال لي commas, so this is punctuation. يبقى نفهم بقى بيقول ايه. Okay, for some white people with no cultural links to native nations, comma, the prepositional phrase حلو قوي. Introductory phrase بتقدم for some white people. Okay, مالهم بقى؟ It might be a point of pride. ليه؟ To claim that their high cheekbones في غلطة هنا. High cheekbones ينفع أقول high cheekbones؟ طب cheekbone ده noun. طب high ده adjective. الرول don't put a comma between the adjective and the noun. لو سمحت ما تقولش beautiful comma girl. في حاجة اسمها كده beautiful comma girl. في حاجة اسمها كده tall comma boy. في كده. ينفع أقول high comma cheekbones. طب توصف ال cheekbones. High cheekbones. So no comma between the adjective and the comma. So it is not A. Okay, طيب. B. Native nations. So for some white people with no cultural links to native nations, comma, it might be a point of pride to claim that his high cheekbones, comma, marked them. طب هنا his high cheekbone, this is the subject. Marked, this is the verb. Another rule, don't put a comma between the subject and the verb. فاش تحط comma واحدة بين السبجكت والverb. فاش تقول مثلا he, comma, went. فيش كده. Okay? So it's not B. Okay, for C, native nation. So it was for some white people with no cultural links to native nations. It might be a point of pride to claim that their high cheekbones marked them as descendants of the American Indian princess. Yes, I'll go for C. Type D. إيه مشكلته? Okay, native nations. It might be a point of pride. Us. So we can هنا their high marked. المفروض them مش marked us. Okay, so هنا pronoun غلط. Okay, 42. Okay, so 42. Although his assimilationist politics, comma, throughout his career, Curtis honored the co-heritage. So although, however, moreover, despite. Transition هنا. Transition. طيب مبدئيا كده. Okay, هو كان بيقول ايه قبلها. Okay, نقرا كده قبل ونقرا بعد. Okay, ونجرب however ونجرب. However, his assimilation. However, هنا we need a comma after however. Comma. Transitions. We need a comma. طب moreover his assimilationist politics. It doesn't make any sense هنا moreover. امال ايه؟ يا although يا despite. طب ايه الفرق بينهم؟ انا شرحتها قبل كده. although subject و verb. although the test was difficult, the test was difficult. طب despite plus noun, despite plus verb plus ing, despite the heat, despite the weather. Okay, despite plus verb plus ing, despite having, او despite the fact that وبعدين subject و verb. طب هنا قايل ايه؟ although his assimilation is politics. طب ده noun ما ينفعش. although لازم subject و verb. يبقى مين؟ يبقى despite على طول. اوكي، despite معناها ايه؟ معناها although the same. اوكي 43. Okay, number 43. And even if many Native American people were unhappy with the land allotment plans he had championed, many were proud of him. طيب السنتنس دي tricky شويه يا ولاد. هو بدأ هنا بإيه؟ even if. This is a subordinating conjunction. طب آخرها فين؟ even if many Native American people were unhappy with the land allotment plans. المفروض هنا that he had championed. هنا في that. Okay. he had a champion. هو championed ايه؟ he supported ايه؟ البلانز. فهنا المفروض في implied that بس هو ما كتبهاش. اوكي، يبقى نهاية even if بعد championed يبقى even if many Native American people were unhappy with the land allotment plans he had championed كما ايه اللي حصل بقى؟ بالرغم من ده even if حتى لو ده حصل many were proud of him كانوا فخورين بيه جدا. يبقى الكاما دي بتاعت الاف. طب ايه الكاما اللي هنا دي؟ we don't need it. المفروض لو كان يقول لك ايه the plans that he had championed. اوكي طيب في بي مش حاطط كاما. طب في دي حاطط فول ستوب طبعا no. طب بي وسي كولن. طب هنا احنا يعني the end of even if. when you have even if you started the sentence with even if. is that a complete idea? No. so we need a comma in B. Okay, so the plans he had championed وادي الايه الكاما محطوطه هنا. Okay طيب so it's B. Okay, for number 44. Okay, so which of the following provide the best sentence structure needed to support the author's main idea. ساعات كتير في الامتحان في الاي اس تي بيجيب لك الموضوع ده، يقول لك انا عايز اعمل support للauthor's main idea. ولو ما تقرا الفور choices في بعض الكويستشنز في بعض الامتحانات تلاقيهم كلها شبه بعض يعني. فاكشولي بيبقى ايه بيلعب في الموديفاير في البانكتويشن. فتيك كير. Hoover remained suspicious of his former rival and comma. امتى يجي comma and وراها comma؟ لو في non essential. يعني ايه؟ despite Curtis' enormous expertise in the working of Congress. حاول تشيلها كده delete it واقراها. So Hoover remained suspicious of his former rival. هو شاكك في former rival. Okay. And وعمل ايه كمان؟ kept him. يبقى he remained suspicious and kept him away. It goes. Okay. طيب في B his former rival and we need the comma عشان نعمل ال non-essential. في comma ناقصة عشان ده non-essential. So there is a missing comma. Okay. Okay. The next one. Okay. هنا Curtis مش حاطط الايه الpossession. Curtis enormous expertise. الexpertise بتاعت Curtis. So we need the possession. Okay. So this is the end of part 2. يعني I hope you find this beneficial. يا رب تكونوا استفدتوا من الريفيجن ده. وحاول ان انت تسمع الفيديو كذا مره، وحاول ان انت تعمله شير، وحاول تعمل لايك وسبسكرايب. وبالتوفيق ان شاء الله. Thank you so much واشوفكم على خير ان شاء الله. السلام عليكم ورحمه الله.